Briterion Bollection is back, bitches. Um, I'm trying to cut back on that. Aileen doesn't really like that, so I
And
guess
what?
I guess I'll have to cut back
Your
slightly on that.
catchphrase?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, maybe I can do it when she's not around. Yeah, we're back, and I'm your host Kevin. I'm back here with Kris,
Pleasure to be here.
who's returned from a long hiatus. Um, been leaving my ass hanging the past few weeks. On the movie front, at least we've been talking a little basketball, sports,
As we
But
should.
yeah, thank, thanks for joining me on the movie front again, Kris. I figured, we haven't done a lot of horror yet. I mean, we've done maybe a couple. Substance.
Mhm.
What else did we do?
New Jack City. Some people could say that was a horror movie. At least
Yeah,
for Chris Rock.
that was a crack horror. Yeah, but I figured horror is one of your favorite genres. It's one of my favorite genres.
hmm
And one of your favorite auteurs of horror is a man by the name of Stephen J. King, right? I don't know
Yeah,
if J is his middle name or anything, but yeah, you're a scholar of the King, right?
absolutely. I love the man.
Um, I thought we would talk today about one of my favorite horrors related to Stephen King, and that film is the VHS B movie classic known as Thinner from '96. Well, first off, how'd you get into being such a Stephen King fan?
That's a great question. I really don't know. I mean, there was a lot of buzz about him back in the 80s. I think I just picked up Carrie, maybe, like his first book, and really got into it, and just amazed at the writing, and it was just amazing. He's the master. He's the modern master of horror. In my opinion, he's the greatest writer of this century in the horror genre. Um, so yeah, I just read all his stuff and really got into it. And there's just nothing like reading a Stephen King book. You're just there in the moment, and it scares the shit out of you. He's so good at it. So it inspired me to be a writer. To like go into that genre and write my own stuff.
Right.
And yeah,
And
can't say enough about the man. The man is a genius.
great. I agree. He is. Even though I'm not a big reader, more of a movie guy.
hmm
But you said you hated it, didn't you? Didn't you hate the book, It?
Yeah, I'm really I like the classics. Like The Stand was a really long book, but it was amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's one of the best horror books ever written. It was very long, and I felt like it could have been shorter. I don't know. Um, you know, but maybe I got to go back and revisit it. Maybe it wasn't in
Yeah.
the right frame of mind at the time.
Yeah, you got to spend another 2 years reading that again.
It took
um,
me a while to read that book.
yeah.
I like usually when I read one of his books, I read it like in 3, 4 days. I just go right through it. I don't stop. That's just the kind of writing he has. You can't leave it. You got to find out what's going to happen next. So
Yeah.
that book, I I wasn't getting into it. I kept picking it up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down. So
Yeah.
the movie turned out good. The first one.
Yeah. I love the original. Maybe we can talk about that one sometime.
hmm
Um, yeah. And he's a product of New England, isn't he?
hmm
Maine.
Yep.
Um, you with your Celtics shirt on, post game, post victory over the Magic. Um, yeah, I actually have the Warrior game in the background on silent, on mute.
Uh-huh.
Just watching
Okay.
it, watching the score. I just finished watching Cavaliers barely beat the Heat culture.
Yeah,
Um,
that's rough.
yeah, but at least they won. So that's all that matters. Trying to
More
get the
fodder
heat
for the
culture
second.
out of this crap. Anyways, yeah. So Stephen King. I mean, I don't know. I think I always kind of grew up with him in the background. Kind of curating some of my nightmares. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was just really into horror as a kid. Like, it was like probably one of the first genres I really gravitated towards. And I think my older sister had some books of his that I would see just like snooping through her crap. Like I saw she had like Christine,
Mm, it's a great
which
one.
yeah, which the movie is really cool. I never read the book, but yeah, and I kind of just kept hearing Stephen King, Stephen King. Like I just kept hearing about him as a kid growing up, and by the time Thinner came out, I was like already pretty well versed in him. I already saw it by that time, which I loved. Um, I think The Stand, like the TV movie, was like
Mhm.
the year before this, before Thinner. It was like '95, and I was
That's
like trying to
awesome.
watch that, but then it was like my mom would like maybe go to bed and crap, and they would only play it like at 10 p.m. like on ABC or whatever. And I was like, damn, I want to watch this. Has the guy from Parker Lewis Can't Lose? I gotta watch this. you know, Corin Nemec or whatever the hell his name is. Yeah, I was like, I want to see this, and then it was like, oh, it has that hot chick, Laura San Giacomo or whatever. I was like, I need to see this crap.
Mm.
Um, and then I remember us talking about it before. I was like, yep, Laura San Giacomo. She was banging the devil, and then I remember you were like, aren't we all? which which I don't think you've ever said more poignant words, Kris, in your career. And I hope you bring that same poignancy to this podcast. So yeah, I was already, yeah, it was like I was only 96. I was gonna turn 12 that year, but I was like 11, I think, when I saw this, and like I was already like pretty well versed in Stephen King. I knew all this shit about him, seen a lot of movies about from him, from his stories. So going into this, I think I saw the commercial, the trailer before it came out, and I didn't watch it in the theaters, but I think we rented it at Blockbuster. It was either at Blockbuster or like a friend's house. Like I remember that summer, well, that whole year, like especially that summer, my brother was DJing a lot, and he had this other friend who he like had a DJ business with, quote unquote, and we were hanging out at his house a lot, and he had all these random ass B movies. So I think later on that year, because this came out like October that year, so it was like actually right before my birthday that year. I think he rented it, and we all just gathered around. Me, my brother, and my cousin, some of our other friends gathered around and watched this, and we were just like laughing our asses off, like half scared, half laughing our asses off. Um, so yeah, and from then on, it's always been like a cult classic for me. Yeah, and I think Kari Wurr being in it is not a bad thing. The hot gypsy chick. Um, so yeah, it's always been like a cult classic, and if I ever saw it, through the years on HBO, I'd sit down and watch it. If it was on, TNT or something, I'd end up watching it. Even though it kind of, faded into the background, as other Stephen King films came out. I liked 1408 a lot when that came out. So yeah, I told you let's watch this and give our critical Briterion eye to this. Um, so the credits pop up and it says a Tom Holland film. I was like, what the hell, Tom Holland? I didn't realize Spider-Man directed this. Like I guess it's
Well, it
another guy
can't
named
be.
Tom Holland. Yeah. Um, and we see all these cars like driving in from the fog, as the movie comes up, and you're like, okay, what the hell's all these cars and stuff? And then we see this fat guy, um, who's the main character, What is his name anyway? Was his name Tom, or did we figure that out?
I know in the book it was Billy. I don't know if they changed it for the movie.
Oh yeah, no, it is Billy. Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, Billy. So we see him, and he's in this fat suit, and it just looks kind of ridiculous. Like you can totally tell it's a fat suit. You know, he's not fooling anyone with that. You get like his cheeks, like he looks like Courtney Cox in Friends when she was fat. You know what I'm saying? Like he has that same crappy makeup.
Hers was a little bit better than his, I think.
Yeah. You're probably right. I think Friends had a bigger budget than this. Believe it or not, an episode of Friends had a bigger budget
And
than this
14
crap.
million. I mean, that's a lot of dough.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I guess chump change from films, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, eventually, the Friends, they were making $1 million an episode, like each,
Yeah.
each actor,
They're making a lot of dough.
yeah, they're rolling in it. Yeah, you can tell he has a fat suit, and yeah, we're introduced to his family. His wife is kind of hot. His daughter's, 12 or something, 13, and she's, cute and innocent, and they make fun. His family makes fun of him because he's like the lawyer for this mafia guy, played by Joe Mantegna, brilliantly played by him. Um, he's great. He plays Richie the Hammer Ginelli, and they're kind of making Godfather jokes to him, doing the Brando stupid voice. But I love Joe Mantegna. I mean, he's another one who like I just kind of grew up with because mainly because he does the voice on The Simpsons of Fat Tony. But he always plays some mafia dude or a cop. Like he's really great in the films of David Mamet, especially House of Games, Things Change, Homicide. Like David Mamet is a great writer, and he's a great director too. But he's mostly known for his writing. Are you familiar with the Mamet, Kris?
Heavyweight.
Yeah, he's a great writer. You should check out the film Edmund. It was a play, but they turned it into a film. Actually, Stuart Gordon directed it. Came out like in 05 or 06. And Stuart Gordon, who did Reanimator, he directed it. And so it's a different, it's not a horror, but there are horrific elements to it. I guess nowadays it would have been released by A24 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you can find that, I think it might be on Tubi. Try to find Edmund. So that was a play written by David Mamet, and the film is directed by Stuart Gordon. So Mantegna kills it, and we see them post trial, and he's on the yacht with him after they win the case. They're popping bottles, eating spaghetti. The mom is straight up Italian, so she knows how to cook, and he's just stuffing his face as usual throughout the film. And that's kind of partly what I thought was like so kind of cheesy about the film. It's like it's a real caricature. He's eating like every second of the film. You know what I'm saying? It was just too much of a caricature. It was too ridiculous. Like
No change throughout the
yeah,
movie. Eating
yeah,
the whole time when he's in the beginning,
yeah,
and at the end he's still eating the whole time.
yeah, exactly. Like
Always
he
has
was
food
eating a lot because he was fat, and then he's eating a lot because he's like trying to stay fat. You know what I'm saying? He's trying not to lose so much weight as the film goes on. But it was just like a caricature. It was like they should have put a little more subtlety in it, because if you notice, a lot of bigger people, you don't actually see them eating that much. You know what I'm saying? When you're around them, it's like they don't eat. And it seems like maybe they should have did it that way, where it's like he binge eats, like he eats privately, not in front of all these people. That would have been a little more realistic.
Crying in the shower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with his ice cream sundae.
Chewing on a Subway sandwich.
Yeah, with his big ass hoagie, like Chris Rock with the crack. He's crying with the sandwich.
Calling me, man. It's calling me.
Yeah, it's called me. Yeah. So I mean, maybe when we do our Briterion remake of Thinner, we'll have a little more subtleties to it. Um, yeah, so he goes, he's back in his office and he looks out the window and he sees, so like those cars that were rolling in at the beginning, they were like these gypsies who, they set up like a carnival. And I feel like that's more of an East Coast thing. You know what I'm saying? I think in California we're not very familiar with gypsies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, um, yeah. I mean, did you ever have any interaction with gypsies when you were in Boston?
Not that I'm aware of. Maybe in
No.
Europe, but never in Boston.
Yeah. No. I mean, so this is kind of a foreign concept to Californians, I would say.
Hmm.
And maybe I'm sure maybe this is an old school thing. I don't know. I don't know if gypsies are still running the carnival racket nowadays in the East Coast. Not really sure, but yeah, they're like setting up shop for their carnival, and like that's how they make their money. You know what I'm saying? They can't do real jobs. Like they can't get real jobs. They're not like U.S. citizens supposedly. So that's how they make their money. And the judge of the town, what's his name? Judge Phillips, played by Howard Erskine. He's trying to kick them out. He's trying to arrest the gypsies and kick them out. And he tells Billy, he's like, "Oh, you see that gypsy piece of ass over there?" And like they're like looking down at her on Carter, and you see Carter like look back at them in the window, and they're like, "Oh, what? You think she can hear us?" And she looks back, and then she just does her own thing. And the cop, that scary looking cop with the flat nose, Daniel von Bargen is the actor. He was also in one of my favorite films, Basic Instinct. He plays like a cop in that too. He plays like some jackass detective, but he just has this scary look. Like you feel like he's like some devil guy or something like that. He just has a really freaky face. And then Carrie Wurr, she kind of teases Billy as he's walking out to his car, and he's like all like hot and bothered by her, you know. And she like kind of shows some cleavage to him, and then she lifts her panties a bit, and he gets this big ass grin on his face, and then she quickly flips him off and spits, and he's like, "Okay, great, thanks for that." Yeah, so
Doesn't like
Carrie,
authority, I guess. She doesn't like anybody in front of the courthouse.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So Carrie Wurr, she plays Gina Lemke Romani. It's her character's name. And they're having dinner, and yeah, they have like a victory dinner with the judge and him, and they're driving back from the dinner. He's driving, and his wife is getting a little frisky all of a sudden. She's like, she can't keep her hands off of him because I guess because he won this case, she's like getting turned on by him, and he's like, "Oh, like you're getting pretty frisky out of nowhere," and she's like, "Oh." She's like, you need to stop thinking about food. Like all you think about is food. Um, she's like, let me help you think about something else. And she like grabs him by the crotch while he's driving, and he's like, "Ooh, like whoa, like yeah, that's nice," And all of a sudden, we see her blonde hair popping up and down in front of him, you know. And yeah, I feel like they should have cued the in the remake of this. We should put Kings of Leon, "Sex on Fire" during this scene, because it'll just fit perfectly. Because it'll just be like, "Lay where you're laying,
I
don't
picture him
make a
holding like a mop
sound."
head with a wig on it, and he's going
Yeah,
like this.
yeah,
It didn't look like a person. I'm sorry, maybe it was.
yeah. I mean, you're probably right. It was
All I
like a
saw was
Muppet.
hair going
Yeah,
cascading.
it was like a Muppet, and they were like pulling a string to like,
Jim Henson got to work there. That was his
yeah. I didn't
incredible
know.
pay.
Yeah, I didn't know the Sesame Crew were gonna be part of this. Um, yeah. So she's giving him oral pleasure while he's driving, and he's getting really into it. And we see the old gypsy man is in the pharmacy, and we see this other old lady come in, and there's a nice little Stan Lee style cameo. Who plays the pharmacist? None other than Stephen King.
Yes,
And
love
so
that.
yeah, we see. Did you like his acting there?
Always on spot. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the old man is there, and then this other old lady comes in. You assume it's his wife or something. The other old lady, and she tells him, she's like, "Papa, it's cold. I'll go get my coat." And you're kind of like, "Papa," maybe that's just what she calls him as a nickname or whatever.
Big Papa.
Yeah. And speaking of Big Papa, we cut to them in the car. She's still doing her thing on him while he's driving, and next thing you know, that lady's walking in the street, and he's really in the moment, and he gets a little too into it, doesn't see her in the street, pulls the brakes a little too late, and hits the old lady, runs her over, um, and we see blood on the windshield wipers. Nice little touch, like the blood wiping away, and they're pretty distraught by this, and we I mean, and the acting is horrible here, by the way. Like, his acting is horrible. He's just like, "Oh," and his wife was like, "Oh my god." It's fucking horrible acting. um, but what do you expect from a pretty B-list cast? Um, they couldn't get no stars in this. Like, this script couldn't attract anybody. Um, I'm sure nowadays it could easily get people, but back then people were on their high horse, as you like to say. Didn't want to do B Stephen King work.
Yeah.
That's a travesty. So yeah, so we dissolve the blood on the windshield wipers, and we dissolve to him. He's at breakfast, worried, and his daughter is asking him questions. He tells her it's not a trial; it's a coroner's inquest, which is almost like a mediation, I guess, type of thing. Um, Not a full blown trial, but still, it looks like a trial because you're in a court. We see Steven is on the stand. Um, then the creepy guy, and they're all vouching for him, basically. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make it look like he didn't do anything wrong. Um,
Making up a lot of shit
yeah, yeah, exactly.
to corroborate.
Yeah, they said he was driving the legal limit. He wasn't drunk, and but
Did a
they're kind of
breathalyzer.
yeah, and they're kind of like, well, then what caused this? And he's like, I don't know what caused this accident. Some mystery.
Maybe that would have
Um,
gotten him off
yeah,
if he told the truth.
you could say this was technically a death by suction, um, death by blowing. um, and then
Sucked being
yeah,
her.
yeah. Um, and so they're outside of the courthouse, and they're kind of somewhat, they're optimistic of the outcome, and we see that old man Lemke comes out of nowhere, and he's pissed, and he comes up to Billy, and he just caresses his face, and he says, "Thinner," and he drives away, and he's pissed. Um, And then the next day or so, Billy weighs himself, and he's like, "Wow, I actually lost weight. Shit, like how'd that happen? Yeah, I've been eating like shit. Haven't been exercising. So how the hell did I actually lose weight?" And his wife is keeping track of his weight on his like old ass laptop that she has. Um, it's like a old ass IBM like thick ass laptop, and it weighs like 60 pounds. I mean, like, um, and she thinks he's losing weight like due to his guilt. She's like, "Oh, I think you're losing weight because you feel guilty," and he's like, "That's stupid." he, tell, he tells her. Um,
He's a lawyer.
so
He doesn't have guilt.
yeah, yeah. So that couldn't be the cause because he doesn't feel guilty.
Stereotype. No.
Yeah, and then we see him. He's golfing with other lawyers and other professional white dudes, and they're in the locker room post golfing, and the judge, he, he sees some shit on his skin or whatever, right? Like he's like, like, because one of their friends is a doctor, that Doctor Mikey, whatever. He's like, "Oh, like, can you look at this?" And the doctor's like, "You're fine. Just put some fucking lotion on that."
Yeah, didn't look so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It didn't look good, but I think Mikey was just like, just put some damn lotion. Don't freak out. I don't want to deal with your shit. Um, and it's funny because Billy, he pulls off the towel and we get to see his big fat ass. It's like, thanks for that.
Yeah, didn't need that.
Yeah, thanks for showing your big fat fake ass. um, good job, Tom Holland. Good job directing that.
He also wrote
And
it too. I think he wrote the script.
yeah,
I'm sure he doesn't want that credit on his record, but
yeah, I'm sure he does it. Not the greatest penmanship. And no, but anyways, yeah, he pulls off his robe, and the Dr. Mikey's like, "Oh, like you'll be able to see your balls without needing a mirror soon," and they all laugh like, "Ha ha ha ha," and he's just like standing there like okay. um, and then we see his wife again. She has a graph that says Billy's diet, and she's worried that he's losing so much weight so fast, and she wants him to see the doctor, and he's like, "No, like I'm fine." And she's like, "If you don't want to see the doctor for me or you, at least see it for our daughter, you know." And he's like, "Fine." Have to drag our daughter in this shit. You know? So he sees the doc, and the doctor's like, "You're good, dude. Like your vitals are good. It's like maybe you just hit a good zone of weight loss." You know what I'm saying? Um, and then we see him at the clothing store, and he looks hella skinny. He went to like Men's Fashion Depot or something like that, big and tall. And yeah, he looks hella skinny there, like quickly. Yeah, he's wearing those big ass pleated trousers. It's like, damn, he looks hella skinny. And the tailor is like, "Wow, you're down to 40 inches, maybe even a 38." I'm like, shit. And yeah, and the tailor is eating too for whatever reason, because he's like kind of chubby, and it just looks so cartoonish. It's like, really, like, do you need to throw his ass eating in there? Um, and then we see him at home, and his daughter's like creeped out by him. He's like, "Geez, like what the, like you're getting so skinny now. You're looking all like zombie-ish or something shit like that." um, and his wife was like, "Yeah, like let me call Dr. Mike or whatever," and he's like, "Yeah, you call Dr. Mikey or whatever," and she doesn't like that. She doesn't like his Dr. Mikey condescending tone, and his wife gets pissed off at him. He's like, "Stop calling him Dr. Mikey." He's like, "You're the one giving me the blowjob," and she's like, "Well, you weren't complaining at the time," and he's like, "True that."
when taken.
Yeah, he's like, "I'll have another, please."
Want to go for a drive? There's a gypsy fair across town. We could go drive by.
Yeah.
Seems to work for you.
Yeah. It's the reason you get turned on by these gypsies. Yeah.
You can lose some weight. Ooh, that's fine. She is fine.
This,
She is fine, but she kind of, I don't know. She goes through her own progression throughout the movie.
like, she started off hotter, and then as the movie
Extremely
goes,
hot, like all dressed up and looking like
yeah.
kind of a Marilyn Monroe, and then she ends up looking like, I don't know, some old cat lady in a sweater.
Yeah.
She's falling. Maybe it's because they want to show she's falling apart. They like to hit you over the head in this movie with the
Yeah.
food in the hand. And
Yeah. Not very subtle.
no, they're not. They're not. Not like that other movie where they were very
Yeah.
subtle.
Nuanced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Substance, I think is what we were talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Substance. Yeah.
Yes.
No, this is the opposite of nuance. This is clobber you over the head with shit. And yeah, so they're at a dinner party or something, and the doctor tells him that he doesn't have a tapeworm or anything like that. And they see that the judge's wife is eating dinner alone there, and he's wondering like where the judge is, and the doctor's like making up excuses and shit. He's like, oh, he's fine. He's just wants to jack off at home or whatever, you know. So he goes to the judge's house later, and his wife answers, and she tells him he's in Minnesota or something. But they both like look at each other like, oh shit, no, it's some gypsy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Minnesota, my ass. You know, he's not a Vikings fan.
But he goes to
He's not a
Minnesota for any
Timberwolves
reason.
fan. He's not an Ant-Man fan. um, so yeah, they're like, no, that's suspicious. Yeah, so I guess the gypsy old man, he told the judge, he gave him a curse. He was like, lizard or whatever. And so his skin is like that little shit he had earlier when they were golfing. I guess it's turning into scales. It's turning into like lizard scales or whatever. So you can just imagine that. And she's pissed off at him, like, because like she thinks he caused all this. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the cause of this, when it was really his wife who was the main cause. You know?
Takes two for fellatio.
Yeah,
Two to
she had
tango.
she had an oral fixation that she had to cure at that moment. Uh, yeah. No, but that old lady, she's a good actress. Like, she's screaming at the top of her lungs, like, you killed him, it's your fault. Like, she is fucking crazy. And then we see Montaigne. He's chilling in his den, and he has like some bad bitches around. You know, mafia lifestyle. And Billy calls him and asks him if he believes in gypsy curses, and he's like, oh, I don't believe in that shit, but let me ask my mom. Like, so she asks his mom in Italian, and he comes back to the phone and says, yeah, like my mom says, yeah, she does, because there was a lot of gypsies in the old country, you know, the old country being Italy. I don't know why he just doesn't say Italy. He has to say the old country. Like, it's just a cliched way to say it. Yeah, and she tells him that, she says that the person who gave it to you has to get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoever starts the curse has to lift it as well, you know? So, we see his wife driving, and he's telling her about the gypsy curse on him, and the judge, and that creepy cop. And I almost thought he was like, oh, you're driving now. Why don't I return the favor here? You know? Yeah, they probably thought like, oh, like, no, that'll cause a even bigger accident than the previous one, you know. But then she almost does crash into a truck. Like, like in this part, and he didn't even do anything, and she almost fucking crashed the car. So imagine if she was getting some pleasure during that time. That could have been the end of both of them right then and there. So he goes to the Glassman Clinic, and the doctors there are happy that he's losing so much weight, and the doctors are really weird there. They're like really like they're too enthusiastic. Like it's fucking ridiculous. More horrible acting from from
Mm-hmm.
people. So then he goes to Hopley's house, the creepy cop, and the creepy cop, he's all fucked up and deformed. He looks like he has a bad case of syphilis or something. Like he just has like his face is all jacked up, and
Falling off.
he's got this like big lip that's like this fish lip on the side. Yeah, he looks horrible, and he he tries to give Billy a gun to kill the old bastard gypsy, but he says he won't because he needs him to take off the curse. Um, and he's like, "Damn it, Billy, kill his ass," and he's like, "No, I need him to lift this curse," and he's like really adamant. He's like, take the gun, and he's like, no, and then he just like runs out of the house, and all of a sudden you hear a loud like when he leaves, and he's like, oh shit.
That
I
was
don't think he
hilarious.
just shot that in the air. I think he did a little more damage with that.
And his expression after hearing the gunfire. Ooh,
Yeah, it's
what
more
just
of his
happened?
horrible acting. Yeah,
I've done a bad thing.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's actually the guy who plays Billy. The actor's name is Robert John Burke, and I remember seeing him later on, and I kind of forgot that he was in this movie because I remember seeing him on Gossip Girl. He was on the first season of Gossip Girl. He played Chuck Bass's dad in that, um, and then I was like, oh wow, he did a lot more shit than I realized. He was on. He was in RoboCop 3. I guess he played RoboCop in RoboCop 3. Um, that was like 93. He was in Tombstone. He was in a lot more shit than I realized. So I was shocked by that. But it's still horrible acting, like when that gun goes off, you're just like, I don't know if they just thought like, oh, this is a horror, so we don't have to do that good acting. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, even if it's horror, good acting would really lift it up. You know what I'm saying? Like Reanimator has better acting than this, way better acting. You know what I'm saying? And that was maybe even crazier horror, but having great actors really like uplifted the material. Yeah, not very good casting on this. So he goes back home and he sees this nice ass car outside his house, and Dr. Mikey comes out of the house, and he's like, "What the fuck? Like something's afoot here." I think my wife is doing more car action on somebody else. um, so then, yeah, he visualizes her making out with him, and while she admits like she's talking to him, and he sees like he fantasizes her like making out with him, and she says, "Yeah, he was here. We were talking about your health, quote unquote."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Bullshit," and he eats a rotisserie chicken whole. He's just like, ugh. This is like you go at Costco. You just start chowing down on the rotisserie chicken. And you can even see like the jello of the chicken, like it's just disgusting. And she's like, please, like, don't bring up that curse shit. And he gets pissed off, and he's like, ugh, he throws the chicken across the room.
Just kind of sticks to the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
On the glop.
Costco chicken. Yeah, you can see the chicken jello just like
Juicy.
slowly. Yeah, I mean,
They still open? Do I still have time?
You got like 15 minutes.
Ooh, shoes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta love that Costco chicken jello. Um,
Spread it on bread.
yeah. It's like Vegemite.
Like my grandmother from the old country.
Yeah, exactly. She's spread it on toast. So we see them at Hopley's funeral, the freaky cop. And Dr. Mikey sees Billy and he says, "Your wife told me you keep talking about the gypsy curse." And he's like, "She tells you a lot. Whispers sweet nothings in your ear." Dr. Mikey's like, "What's that supposed to mean?" What the fuck? And it's kind of funny. So Billy, he hires this private investigator to like find some shit out, and it's this black dude, this black private investigator. It's like, wow, like thinking outside the box. Black private investigator. That's what's up, Billy. You're down with the streets. So yeah, the dude, the private investigator, he finds out that woman was the daughter of the old man, and he's like, daughter? No, like this lady was ancient. She was like 90 or whatever. And she's like, yeah, well, yeah, actually, she was 75 or 80. That's what he said, and that old man is 106 or whatever. So he's like, shit, man, these gypsies are fucking old. Like they get hella old, you know. But yeah, this guy he's a pretty good private investigator. He's almost like the black negotiator guy who was in the Selena shooting. Like, like I don't think a lot of people realize that this guy was black, the negotiator, because you know the lady who killed Selena, the singer. Well, she was like the president of her fan club or whatever. So she was in a car with a gun and she was gonna like kill herself right after that. But then the negotiator guy was able to talk to her and, you know, kind of sweet talk her out of it. And she's like, okay, like, and she's like, throw away the gun, and she threw it out, and then the cop just like descended on her and just grabbed her ass, you know. But this guy kind of reminds me of that guy. Yeah, you gotta watch. You know, for my Tubi heads out there, you gotta watch "Murder Made Me Famous" on Tubi, which is it's really from the Reels channel. But if you don't have cable, you can watch it on Tubi. Scan "Murder Made Me Famous," the episode on Selena. It's pretty interesting. So he comes home and he sees the Dr. Mikey, holding hands kind of with his wife. Like he walks in and they're like, "Oh shit, like what are you doing here?" You know, and yeah, he's like over it. He's like, "Okay, like I know you guys are fucking, um, but fuck you guys." You know, like he just lets them do their thing, and he leaves a letter saying he's gonna check in on the old man, and if there's anything going on with her and Dr. Mikey, they need to kill that shit ASAP. You know. He gives him a warning, you know, like
Citation.
yeah, exactly.
Very
Uh,
strong.
yeah,
Very manly.
yeah.
Here's a note for you. I'll be back.
He drives hella far to see the gypsy area, but then he goes there and he sees it's like abandoned, and there's some like realty company or some shit that took over. So he visits the company office and he asks the owner where they went, and the guy says, "Oh, like I'll charge you $800 uh, to not tell my wife and the doctor because they've been putting up missing signs around town." So he's like, "Okay, like it's like only a $5,000 reward, shit." And he's like, so he asks them, he's like, "Do you take traveler's checks?" So
Jeez.
yeah. So and then he has like a nightmare or something, right? That was like your favorite scene that
I was very
happened.
confused at first.
Yeah. So he's at the carnival and we see Kai War and the old man are there, and he's playing with him. Yes, he says he can guess his weight, and he weighs 159, but he's gonna keep going down. We see, like, you know how you play those games and you can win dolls, and he looks up and he sees all these creepy dolls of himself, like all skinny, and then the judge and the cop all fucked up, you know, like all these dolls of them that they can win, and he's just like, what the hell's going on, or whatever. Kind of remind me of the dolls from the Tales from the Hood sequence with Corbin Burnson. Um, that's a really great sequence, and that's a great film, and I hope we can talk about it sometime. I know Byron is a big fan of that too. I think George is a big fan of it too, so maybe we can get a round table discussion on
round table
Tales from the Hood. So yeah, and he sees this and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And she runs after him to try to hit him with a slingshot or whatever, and then the judge picks him up. He's like, "Get in the car, loser! Like, we're going driving." So he sees him and he hops in, and the judge is all scaly. He's all fucking ashy. He almost looks like that zombie character, whatever the hell, from the Two Evil Eyes. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Dario Argento and George Romero collab.
Can't do better than that.
Yeah, exactly. That was dope. Yeah, he kind of reminds you of that. He's just like all white and green. He's like the color of money, literally. Like he's like he has this like, you know, this weird. Yeah, he just looks horrible. He's hella ashy. He needs some CeraVe or some shit to lotion his ass up. So yeah, he just so happens to get in there, and he drives him to the bridge where he spins out, and we see there's a truck that stops him in the way, and then the old man is in another 18-wheeler driving towards him, and he's like, like driving all crazy, and he's like, oh shit, and he's about to crash into him, and then when it crashes, he wakes up, and he's in a cold sweat, and he gets a call saying that the judge is dead, and it's his wife. It's the judge's wife who calls him, and she says, "Oh, he always wanted to be cremated." But that's like the joke because he has all scale. You know, he's all scaly and ashy. So I guess she looked on the bright side. Like at least he got to be cremated. You know. And we see Billy. He's at some random bar, and they ask around if they know the old man, the gypsy old man, and I guess they do know him. So he calls him, and his daughter answers, and she said that the doctor is there, and his wife sees her on the phone, and he hears her, so he hangs up and slams the phone. He's like, "Fuck!" And he's like, "This is all your fucking fault."
You're not helping me at all. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Getting laid with Doc Mikey over here.
Yeah.
I'm 110 pounds. Damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's that light yet. He was pretty light though.
Yeah.
Pretty skeletal.
He was a featherweight. Yeah. So he drives out to the gypsy land and walks over to them, and you know he wants him to take off this curse, but he won't. He's like, you know, they're like laughing their asses off at him, and he's like, they're like, "Get out of here, white man from town." And he says, "Oh, I'll go, but not before I curse you." He like really gets into it. He's like, "The curse of the white man from town." And they're like, "Ah!" They're all laughing their asses off at him. And he's like, "Laugh now, cry later." Does he think he's a cholo or something? Like, all of a sudden he turned into Kid Frost with this shit. So he gets piased from them laughing their asses off at him. Kari gets her slingshot, and she hits him in the hand with a slingshot, and he has this big ass hole in his hand. And so he looks like Tarantino in From Dusk Till Dawn with the big ass hole in his hand. So it's funny because I love From Dusk Till Dawn. I want to talk about that movie soon. And so both of those movies are from '96. Um, I didn't realize From Dusk Till Dawn came out that early, so it actually came out in January '96, and Thinner came out right before Halloween, like right before my birthday. So yeah, it's funny that both movies feature a man with a hole in his hand, like perfectly. Uh,
Biblical references, perhaps. I don't know.
yeah, maybe you
No.
know the King, the King and Tarantino. Those are two great writers.
Hmm.
Source in the Bible for material. So, anyways, yeah, he's like all fucked up with his hand bleeding, and then he like does his own little curse. He lets his hands bleed on the land, like the old man did, when he did
Hmm.
that Thinner shit. Um, so then Billy, he's staying in some random ass place, like doesn't quite look like a hotel. Almost looks like a bed and breakfast, like not an Airbnb, obviously. This is way before that, but like one of those like little New England bed and breakfasts is he's hanging out and he's just like bleeding out on the floor. Like he's gonna get a horrible Airbnb rating for this.
Blood everywhere.
Yeah,
Sheets on the floor, on the toilet, and the sink,
yeah, yeah.
on the door.
He gave zero fucks about the cleaning fee on this. um, Speaking of Airbnb, there's a really good documentary, even though it's not very long. It's only like 45 minutes, but you can find it. They have it on, it's either on Tubi or Amazon Prime or one of these free shits, Freevee or some shit. It's called Airbnb Nightmares, and that it shows you basically, yeah, people who've rented their places for Airbnbs who've had horrible experiences, or people who've rent like stayed at Airbnbs that were horrible. And it's pretty funny. It's like it's like tragic but funny because you see some people's like it makes you think twice. It makes you not want to do Airbnb. Like if you're trying to make extra money or some shit. Like because some people in Canada they rented their house like their actual house that they live in. It's a nice ass house, and they were like on vacation when they did that, and they were getting calls from random neighbors. They're like, "Hey, they're having some big ass party over here, and there's like 5,000 boxes of condoms everywhere." like, so when they came home, their house was fucking trashed. It was fucking horrible. So I mean, it makes you not want to do Airbnb shit, trying to get some extra money because those people can fuck up your house. I mean, if you're gonna do that, don't do it with your actual house. Please don't. And then it shows people on the other end. They're staying at places like some guy. I think he was in Brazil or whatever. Like he stayed in Brazil for some vacation. I think it was like during the World Cup or something like that. And he was showing video, and he's like, "Oh, here's my shower." And it was like this white American dude. He was like, "Here's my shower," and he turns it on, and then it like catches fire, like the shower. Like we see it, yeah. And it was like, oh my god, like that's horrible. But yeah, if you can find Airbnb Nightmares, try to watch that. It's pretty funny, tragic but funny.
Stick with the big names. Stick with the Hilton and the Hyatt and the
Yeah,
Marriott. Don't go to
yeah,
the Airbnbs. End of story.
yeah.
Don't know what you get.
Yeah, or read the reviews. You know what I'm saying? Read the reviews
Yes,
before
reviews are
you.
very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah,
They'll steer you clear.
yeah. So after he bleeds out all over the fucking Airbnb,
Showerhead fire is gonna definitely change your mind about staying there for sure.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So after he bleeds out all over the fucking bed and breakfast, he decides he's like, okay, I need the big guns. He's like, I need to cash in a favor here. I got to go Italian here. You know what I'm saying? Let me ask my boy Montaigne for some help. And it's funny because this is almost like the same thing in. So to me, the last great film that Schwarzenegger did was Eraser. That was to me his last great film. Like I fucking hated Jingle All the Way. Thought that was horrible.
Oh.
End of Days was horrible. um, cat food going on. Stand by.
Cat's always eating.
Yeah, boys is hungry. What can I say?
What's he gotta do? Press a button or something and it just falls down?
No, we have like they're timed these feeders or whatever. So
So he's just waiting for the food to drop. He's just sitting there.
Yeah, well, he was chilling in his tree, and then whenever he hears that, he's like conditioned to be like, all right, time to eat, you know. So then he jumps off the tree and
Does
starts
your
eating.
cat need an old gypsy to put a curse on him?
No, I think he's good. He's slowly losing weight, slowly. Um,
That's what they do. That's their joy. Sleeping
yeah,
and eating.
yeah, exactly. They have a good life.
Yes, good life.
So it's halftime. 46 Warriors, Rockets 60. So
The
14 points
hell?
up. I know. What the fuck?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'll try to finish up so we can catch the end of that. So, yeah, this reminds me a lot of, like I said, the last great film I feel like Schwarzenegger did was Eraser, with Vanessa Williams and him, and yeah, Vanessa Williams. You go and save the best for last, my friend. Um, yeah, I love that movie, and like him going to Montana almost reminds you of in that film how he saves this mobster guy at the beginning of the film. He saves them, and the Italian guy is like, "Oh, you need a favor, anything, let me know, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, sure. Like, I'll need help from your ass or whatever." But then, towards the last act of the film, he's like, "Okay," he's like, "I know someone I can call," and he goes to some gay bar. And he sees the Italian guy there. The Italian guy's working there. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "I need a favor." He's like, "You said I could call you for a favor, right?" And he's like, "Okay, yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, hell yeah, like I'll help your ass." And then we cut to them. They're in the car, and the Italian guy's like, "So you want me to help you break in the siren?" And he's like, "Yep." He's like, "Shit, I thought you wanted me to help you move a sofa or some shit." Break in the siren. It's like, what the fuck? But yeah, like it's funny. Yeah, these two films. The last act is a guy helping, an Italian mobster guy helping out the main character do some shit. So it's kind of funny. And also, 96, Eraser, same year. So 96 was a pretty good year for film, especially genre film when you look at it like that. Which are your favorite films, right, Kris?
Absolutely.
Yep. It's all about horror and explosions and breasts.
Lots of death and destruction.
Yeah, exactly. Mr.
Evil.
Master's degree in creative writing. Um, so, yeah, he was like, "Hey, dude, I need your ass to help my ass with this whole gypsy situation." Yeah, and so they mention, and he mentions like committal of absentia. Um, he's saying, I guess he gets put on that by his wife and the doctor. Like he gets committed to a mental hospital without being examined. I guess that's some shit. Like it's almost like what they had on Britney Spears, like the conservatorship or whatever. Yeah,
He's a
committal
danger
of
to himself.
yeah, committal of absentia is what they pull on his ass. So
He's
and
a
then,
little
yeah,
psychopathic. He really falls off the deep end.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's meeting with Montana in the car, and he's like, Montana's like, her and the doctor, you don't think they're like he does the little fist sex thing or whatever. Um, and Montana's like, let me handle this. And so he comes in the middle of the night to the gypsy camp, and he kills all their dogs. He like feeds them poison or whatever.
Strychnine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And
strychnine. You like strychnine?
yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, he's got to hit him where it hurts. So then he puts up a sign: "White man from town was here." On the sign.
Take it off.
Yeah,
Something
and
like that.
yeah, and Montana, he's like in some truck stop or whatever, and he sees some random punk kid sleeping in the car, and he like bangs on the door, and he wakes him up, and he's like, "Hey, you want money?" Um, and the guy's like, "Well, okay, but I don't do anything on video." And he's like, no. he's like, there's some gypsies up the way, and I want you to spy on them. Uh, he's like, I need you to do some shit, and he he looks in the car. He sees the guy in the car with Montana, and he sees him. He's all skinny, you know what I'm saying, and he's all like sickly looking. He's like, what the hell? Um,
Fuck.
uh, and that kid, he looks really 90210 ish. He looks like fucking Dylan McKay or whatever, like Luke Perry character. And then Montana goes back into the car, and Billy asks him, he's like, "You like this, don't you, Richie?" And he's like it? I fucking love it. and that kid, he calls Montana back, and he tells him where they are, but he's like, "Oh, I think they spotted me." And he's like, "All right, well," he's like, "Well, get lost then." And that kid, he's like walking back to his car, and he like drops his keys, and then when he like picks them up, there's like a foot there. He looks up like, "Oh shit!" So the gypsies bring back the Luke Perry looking dude. Um, they bring back his car, and that Luke Perry dude is in there with his eyes gouged out and a chicken in his mouth.
Yeah.
And Richie sees this. He's like, fuck. And then we see Billy. He's like looking over, he's all like sickly looking over at Richie, and Richie's like loading a rifle. He's like, and Richie's looking at him all.
Box of rifles or whatever showed
Yeah.
up from Amazon or eBay or something. Like he's opening up the boxes and loading the mags, and
yeah, he's got a shitload of rounds.
I didn't know
Billy's
you could do
looking at him all like weary. He's like this is getting a little out of hand. Even he's like maybe turned down a notch. Yeah, it's funny, the line. He's like, this is getting out of hand. He's like, no. We're like, no, it's been out of hand. And I'm the guy who's going to put it back in hand. Richie the Hammer. The kid was a mook, but he was my mook. Love that.
Classic.
Yeah. So Richie comes in, and he shoots up all the gypsies and blows all their shit up. He looks like fucking Rambo. He's, First Blood Part 4 or whatever the fuck.
It reminded me of the A-Team, like the opening sequence of the A-Team, where like,
yeah, but they shot off mad rounds and never hit shit. But this guy hits a lot of shit. He's killing everyone. He's like the dude in the helicopter in fucking Full Metal Jacket, like get some. He's killing mad gypsies. Yeah, and he kills Carrie Wer's husband there, in that, and she's crying and pissed off, and they got him, so the old man has to give up, basically. They forced his hand, and it's funny. So like Montana, he acts like he's an FBI agent. I guess like he thinks, oh, they won't notice that I'm the same guy who shot them up. So he comes up to the camp, and he pretends he's an FBI agent. He puts on some glasses and a suit, and all of a sudden he looks like an FBI agent. And he talks to Kari War, and he has no fucking shame. It's fucking Montana. He asks her to come with him to identify the guy he was working with, who Billy was working with. And Billy sees him walking with her, and he's like, oh no, like, not again. Shit. Even he's sick of Richie's shit by this point. So Richie just goes through all of this just to show her a photo of him. Like, what the fuck? He had to do all this just to like play with her or whatever. And it's horrible acting here too. I mean, on Kari's part. He's like, do you recognize this man? It's like a picture, and it's a picture of him, And she's like, it was you! Fucking horrible acting. And I love it. He opens a jar, he's like, acid, bitch. And he like gets so pissed off that he throws it at her, and she's like, ah! And she freaks out. And he's like, you just got a face full of soda pop and baking soda. And he's like, next time you're one dead little whore. And it's funny that she sees him, Billy's there with him, and she's like, fuck you, and fuck him too. And Billy acts like, oh, what did I do? It's like, well, I mean, yeah, you're not innocent here, dude. Like, don't act like, you didn't do shit. Because it's funny, because it reminds you of Sideways. When you know how Thomas Hayden Church, he's supposed to get married, but he has a fling with Sandra Oh that whole weekend. But then Sandra Oh finds out because Miles accidentally tells Virginia Madsen, oh, it's like we have to have the rehearsal dinner, in a couple days, and she's like, rehearsal dinner? Who's getting married? And then he has to explain the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, he's fucking getting married or whatever. Like, and he's like, no, like, he tries to backtrack. And then, but he doesn't tell Thomas Hayden Church. So then they come back to the hotel where they're staying at, and they see Sandra Oh there. She's all pissed off. She has a motorcycle, and she has a motorcycle helmet. And she sees them, and Thomas Hayden Church is like, hey, what's up, baby? And then she walks up to him, and she's like, fuck you. And she hits him over the head with her motorcycle helmet, and he's all fucking bleeding. And she's like, fuck you, to Thomas Hayden Church. And then she sees Miles, and she's like, fuck you too. And he's like, what did I do? So, I mean, Miles was more innocent than Billy here. I mean, I don't know why Billy's acting like, why fuck me? This guy's the one killing all you guys. Yeah. I think he's trying to make it seem like he deserves some sympathy or something. And then Richie busts out the real acid, and he puts it balancing on her head. And he's like, hold very still. He's like, very still. And she says, your friend is a pig and he will die thin, but you will die first, bastard.
I love the accents. I love the accents in this movie. The gypsy
Yeah.
accents are the best.
They're so horribly great.
They're so thick.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Richie drives Billy out to meet the old man on some random ass bench. And Billy says, thanks, I owe you one. And Richie says, you want to pay me back? Get that old bastard. It's funny, they say bastard a lot in this, which is one of my favorite words, actually, honestly, in the English language. And they're sitting on the bench, like, he's sitting on the bench, and he's, like, about to pass out. He's, like, fucking drifting, and it's funny that, we see these little kids, like, playing football, amongst them, and they don't know anything about what's going on here. Just that juxtaposition of innocence and killing someone through oral sex, It's a beautiful juxtaposition. And then the old man, Billy's kind of passing on, and the old man comes up and wakes him up. And he's like, wake up! And he's like, your dreams smell bad to me. They stink. He can smell his dreams. That's pretty freaky. And he gives him a pie. But, he doesn't want to make things worse. And the old man tells him, like, he has to give the curse to the pie first. So he just decides to stab him in the hand where he had the hole in his hand. It's like, fuck! Like, could have warned my ass. He just stabs the shit out of his hand, and then he's like, he tells him to bleed it onto the pie. And then we see the pie, like, start trembling, It's kind of freaky. And he's like, oh, you have to give this pie to someone. He's like, but they will die quickly and badly. And he asks him, he's like, do you got somebody? And he's like, yes. I know exactly who to give the shit to.
He just shoved it in his mouth at that point. And just, come here, old man.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
That would have been ironic.
Maybe in our remake we can do that. So then the old man, I always thought this part was kind of interesting, even as a kid, because he's like, why don't you eat your own pie? He's like, you die, but you die clean. And he's just like, well, whatever, I don't give a shit. And he's like, and he gives it to him, and then he walks away. The old man turns back around. He's like, "Die clean." He's like, "Die clean."
He probably had a crystal ball in his trailer or whatever. He'd seen the future.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, and he goes back home and he tells his daughter, or I guess, or does he call his daughter? He says, he's like, "Hey," he's like, "stay at your friend's house." He's like, you know, I want your mom and Mikey to eat this pie that I'm bringing, you know. uh, so then he leaves the pie on the counter, and then he sees his wife asleep on the couch, like like he was falling asleep on the bench, and he like walks up to her, and he's like, "Wake up, white woman from town," and she tells him she's well, he tells her that he's gonna go upstairs because he's exhausted, and he tells him to check out what he got her, and she sees the pie, and she's like, "Is it strawberry?" And as he's walking up the stairs, he says, "Getting even's also what it's all about, you old bitch." Um, he says that, and he's in bed, and he looks over at his wife the next morning, and he takes the sheet off her, and she's all bloody and dried up and dead. And he's like, "Yep, you tried it." um, and then
Doesn't
you
phase him at
see,
all.
yeah. Then we see him like lean over, and you're like, "What the fuck's he doing?" And he kisses her and like tastes her lips. It's fucking gross.
Why?
Um,
Why?
yeah, and it's like, wouldn't he get it back if he did that?
Yeah, I would think.
That makes no fucking sense.
Well, he like
Um,
he like wipes his lips like he's had a little
yeah,
piece of her or something.
yeah,
Piece of the
exactly. Yeah,
pie or something. I don't know.
yeah, no, exactly. Wouldn't the residue? You know what I'm saying? Makes no fucking sense.
You just got to eat a certain amount or something.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. He did. He ate barely below the legal limit of the curse. Yeah, and then he goes downstairs, and he's kind of freaked out because he sees his daughter's stuff, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he sees plates with the pie in the sink. He sees like dirty plates from the pie in the sink, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he looks around, and then he sees his daughter, and she's still alive, and she mentions that she didn't end up staying at her friend's, um, and she said she did eat the pie for breakfast. And he's like, "Shit," uh, he's like, "Fuck," like I guess I gotta take the bad with the good. And see, that's why I don't eat shit that's just there. You know what I'm saying? I don't assume like, oh, like I can eat some shit. You know what I'm saying? I need that person's permission because you never fucking know. You know what I'm saying? Don't just assume you can eat some shit. It could be laced with some gypsy shit. You know what I'm saying? Word to the wise, Kris. So there's a ring at the doorbell, and like he's about to eat some of the pie because he's like, shit, like I might as well just kill myself at this point. You know what I'm saying?
All he
I
had to
mean, my
live
wife.
for was his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. And now that she ate it, it's like, okay, what the hell am I gonna do? So, but then yeah, there's a ring at the door. So he goes over there and opens the door, and it's Dr. Mikey. And Mikey seems like surprised to see him. He's like, "Oh shit! Like, whoa! Like you're here? Like, what the hell?" And he says, "Oh, it's a bit early for a house call." And he's like, "Oh, I was just in the area or some shit." He tries making up some shit. And he's like, "You want to join me for this breakfast pie?" And he's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I just settled everything with Judy. Now it's time I settled it with you." And he doesn't know what he means by settle. He's kind of like, "Settle? Like, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Come in." And then he walks in, and he's like, "White doctor from town." And then it fades out. And yeah, that's the end of the film. Yeah, to me, this movie does really remind me of like a full length Tales from the Crypt or something like that. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying? It definitely has that type of cheese factor. You know, the style. Um,
definitely.
yeah, I think Joe Montana killed it in this film. He really kind of stole the show for me. He was a lot of fun. You know, like I said, I've loved him from The Simpsons doing the voice of Fat Tony. He does a lot of mafia shit, even in the animated world. You know, and I remember Matt Groening was like saying, "Oh, when they first got him, you know, like it was like the first season I think they got him, or the second season they got him to do the Fat Tony character." And Joe Montana told them they were like, "Hey, like if you ever show this character for anything, he's like, call my ass. Like I want to do it, even if he farts or burps, and that's the only line in the whole freaking show. I want to do it." He's like, "Don't have anyone else do it." So he's really committed to the Simpsons and the Fat Tony character. And to me, the whole mafia angle that really makes this film work too. Like you know, it gives it that it's not just a straight horror; it's like a gangster horror. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like halfway through the film, it turns into a gangster movie. Gangsters versus gypsies, Volume One. I think that's a nice touch to this.
Vengeance. True
Yeah,
crime vengeance drama
yeah,
with a
exactly.
slice of horror.
Slice. See what you did there.
Yep.
Um, yeah. Anything else you want to say about Thinner, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. Seems like be better for this to be in a creep show series or something. It's like no, I don't like anybody in the movie. I mean, like Mantegna's the most lovable guy in the movie, and he's like killing the dogs and killing
Yeah,
everybody.
I know.
But I don't like the guy. I don't like his wife. I don't like the doctor. I hate them all. And like in traditional like creep show fashion, that's what happens. They get somebody first, but then it comes back to get them. So I don't know. Maybe it's flipped the other way this time, but like you kind of enjoy watching him eat the
Right.
pie. Like
Yeah.
he deserved it, and you can feel good about it. You can feel good about the main character being offed or whatever. He offs himself, which is I think classic.
Yeah.
Shakespearean. In the book, he just does it by himself. He doesn't have the other guy with him, which I think is better. But it's pretty true to the book. You just can't capture King in any movie. I don't care what it is. He's just the master. He does a lot of internal monologues and things, and um, it's a great movie. It's a good movie. But you're never gonna make a King movie true to him because it's all about thoughts, and he really gets into the characters, and he really develops the characters, and you can't do that in a movie unless you have an internal monologue. Yada yada
Right.
yada.
It would have to be a lot of voiceover probably to make it work.
Yeah, and it wouldn't work. It'd be even cheesier. Maybe it would be funnier. I don't know, but it's yeah. There's a lot of classic humor, dark humor, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
you did read the book then
yes, I did a long
back in
time
the
ago.
day? Yeah. Yeah, I figured.
But it was
Um
Richard Bachman when he wrote it. He wasn't Stephen King.
oh, okay. It was a
He
nom de
changed
plume,
it. It didn't
but
sell very well, and then he changed it, and he started selling a lot of books.
okay.
And they couldn't get the movie to sell. They brought it to a whole bunch of companies nobody wanted. But once they found out it was Stephen King had written the book,
I see.
that raised the
That
money.
upped the value.
Yeah,
Like, was he trying to do it as an experiment, like to see if I can get the same sales without my name or whatever? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't think he cares about the money. It's I don't know.
yeah,
I mean,
just
by
for the
then they
art
knew.
form.
Like somebody had found out. Like they found Library of Congress that he was the writer, and then they had all the Bachman books released, and those they're really good. The Running Man, Longest Walk.
Uh,
Yeah, they're all really. There's one about a school shooting, which I don't think they publish anymore. But I mean, I think it's called Rage. There's four. Yeah, it's a good thing to check out. It's kind of like the young Stephen King before he started making more money. I think he did it before he did like Cujo, things like that.
I
It's
see.
like I want to do something a little different from what I normally do, and then the critics love Thinner. They love the book.
Right.
they said, if only Stephen King could write horror like this, because the critics never liked Stephen King. The fans love him. He's like bestseller, billions of books
Right.
sold.
Yeah.
But it's kind of ironic that they were saying he couldn't write this well. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah,
That's
check it out. It's worth seeing. It's definitely entertaining. I love the
yeah.
old man. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know who
It's
the
one of
old
those
man was,
movies.
but I think he did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those movies where you just get yourself a $5 Little Caesars pizza, get a beer, and watch this shit with your friends.
Yes, definitely.
That's the type of movie it is. Well, thank you, Kris, for joining me. Speaking about one of your favorite auteurs of horror, Stephen J. King. We'll catch you next time. Peace out. Thanks for listening
Yeah.
to Briterion Bollection. Late.